this is Souls44 and welcome back to Galactic Chickens. And let's do the common greeting, I guess. I don't understand why. I guess it's a bow, but if you were to see it from the side, it's just basically a squat. In any case, I just wanted to say hi. This is Galactic Chickens, and episode, I don't even know anymore. I'm not worried about the episode number. Just follow along, I guess. You can back up, go through. Anyway, this is modpack available on the Twitch launcher. And today we're going to build an extreme reactor. I'm probably just going to label this episode Extreme Reactor. Because I apologize for anyone really worried when they're making these reactors. Because it seems like their concerns are, it'll blow up. Will it, do I need to put coolant in it? Is it worth it? You know, as far as the mod pack goes, I have buffed up the power that comes out of these reactors so that we can decrease the size of these things. So I did it proportionally as best I could, and so there is a limit to the size on the server that will function. However, I didn't buff it so that it's ridiculously crazily powerful either, but I did want to build one, and I do want to build one not because I need power, but for two reasons. Mainly because I need to get yellorium. For whatever reason, and I don't know, there's a conversion issue with uranium and yellorium. I don't know what that sound is. And so in order to get yellorium, the trick is very simple but not well known. So I'm kind of giving you a little cheat, I guess. First of all, I'm going to start off by making a base. I am not building a very large reactor, so I'm not going to need a lot of space. I do need to clear out my inventory. Oh, I didn't cover one thing. Let me show you one thing I got going on. The Horn of the Wild I made is a Botania item. Real simple to make. It's just living wood and then a pasture seed. The pasture seeds is grass put into a mana pool. So with my infinite grass farm, I've got it set up where I can do that pretty easily. And this is what it does. As you notice, there's like a lot of flowers and grass over here that I wanted to clear this out. And yes, I'm building a building around it, so that's why I'm leaving room. I'm not going to build on camera much, so today's going to be one of those rare occasions. I do need to, looks like I need to take out a skeleton, little peeping skeleton. There you go. Goodbye. He was weak. It was weak sauce. So, yeah, let's get on with it, right? I'm not going to make a very big one, and you'll see why, but it'll last for a very, 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 I don't know, add a lot of berries for a long time in front of that. That's what's going to do. How I set mine up, I do this. I say I'm going to make 9 control rods, so that's all I'm going to make, and then that's what I do, okay? So it's actually really easy to know how many you're going to need of these fuel rods, because you can just, you know, 9 times 4 is 36, so each one of these is going to have 4 control rods under each one. So it's going to be 5 tall, because you have to have a top, right? 5, actually it's 4 tall in the middle, so it's actually 6 tall. So let's go ahead and do a 6 by 6, I believe is what it is. Let's go ahead and work on it. I might need some more of these reactor casings. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I hope I'm doing this math correctly. I just totally messed up on the last episode. Why not mess up this one, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm putting the base down in the ground because I don't like, it doesn't need to be that big. But the whole thing needs to be filled in, and I can easily, I think, do that with this. Let me try. Can I do it? No, it's considered a entity, so the Direwolf 20 builder doesn't quite work on that. No problem. I do know that the wands do work on this, so if you wanted to speed this up and you had a wand, you could do that. And so now I'm going to do 1, 2, 3. Is that going to be too big? It is too big. See, that's what I get for doing math on camera. Or on recording. Anyway, I only want 3 by 3 inside, so I went 1 too big. I knew I had enough. Doggone it. Real quick. So outside perimeter Yeah, I went one too big on the side. There. Okay. So that gives me a 3x3 inside. And that's pretty much all I need. Whoops. Now, I'm not going to make glass go all the way around this. Part of that's because the particle effects can sometimes cause some forms of lag. And I'd rather not risk that and lose another of my save games for whatever messed up reason. But I am going to definitely need more reactor casing. So let's see, do I just do the math and do it or not? 1, 2, 3. You know what? I'm a baller. Why am I doing this? I'm always making money. Let's go ahead and let's do 30. I know that's way more than I need, but every time I make these things, I swear I end up needing more, and it's just because I end up mathing it wrong. There's no reason to really worry. What I do have already on hand is 9 of these, and my reactor. Now, these are control rods. These control rods control the fuel input and output. There you go. That's exactly what I wanted. And they basically, it's kind of like simulating a nuclear reactor, I guess. It's not really, but it's sort of similar. So basically what it does is these rods insert into the actual fuel rods, these things right here, and supposedly they cool it down or turn the power down a little bit to keep it cool, keep the waste down. So if you don't need to use up the yellorium or the uranium, which is more dictionaried funkily, it will keep you conservative on your usage. So you can set it to 90% insertion, which is the same thing as nearly turning it off, but not quite. And that's what I'm going to end up doing, I think. So, and let's make the face of it, well, let's face it, facing the house. Now I need to put the control. You need one controller. You can put that anywhere on a face. Let's see. Normally I don't put it here, but let's put it right there. I normally do not put the controller, oops, on the in the middle or something like that. I usually put it at the bottom, and that's where everybody does it. So let's go ahead and not do it. We're not going to conform today. Now here's key. Now this is the reactor port. It's the one with the yellow. There are different looking ports. This one's for fluids. Don't use that. If you use this, it won't work unless you use it for making steam. I'm not going to do that right now, although I probably will build a steam turbine on camera so that y'all can see that, but I'm not going to do that until after I beat the Ender Dragon, so that'll be a little while. Which I could do right now, I just don't feel like it. The reactor access port will let you pull in and push out your fuel that's expended, okay? And I'm going to use a trick I learned how to do online from someone else to make it so that it recycles back into itself using a mechanical crafter like that. That should work. So this reactor is going to be my inlet, so it's going to be focusing on this. If you put uranium inside this and you hit the eject fuel button, out will pop yellorium, and that is how you're going to get yellorium, and that's going to come in handy when we do bees. We are going to cover a little bit of bees, okay? And then we have the output side, which you're going to click on outlet mode, and then it'll change to blue. So your input and your output. I will have the pipes or conduits where we're running from the outlet to the side of the mechanical crafter. Crafting plutonium, and crafting plutonium will end up going back in here, and it will recycle that infinitely. The next step we're going to go through is we're going to set up the redstone flux power tap. That's just your power, like where you get your power from. It doesn't really matter where I place it because I'm going to be using a flux plug. So let's go ahead and do that. I have my flux plug. Is it in my face? Oh, it is in my face. It just looks, I expected it to be square. You just push that on there. There you go. Select your network, which is on this tab right here. Then it's on Solus Network. And I'm going to disable limit. I'll go ahead and take the power, whatever it is. It's not going to be that much. Actually, it's going to be fairly decent, and you're going to be surprised. Now, the redstone reactor port I make sure that I place it above or side by the flux power tap, and I'll show you why here in a moment. I'll have a monitor on there, and that will tell the controller to turn on and off. And let's see, do I have that made? Let's go ahead and get the rest of this reactor casing. And where's that? Is it the red net? I think it's the red net. Redstone port. That's all I needed. Okay, so let's go ahead and, oops. Yeah, let's go ahead and configure this to toggle on and off. And have it set for, set from signal, and hit commit. That's just going to be done. Now I'm going to have an RF tools monitor monitoring the power that's inside this block here. When it reaches a certain level, it will turn off or turn on. Okay? I guess that's as simple as I can go with that. We'll go ahead and you have to fill all these in. I'm sure people have done this a million times over, and I want to point out the fact that I have no room in there for any kind of coolant. You do not need coolant. That is for you to tune and tweak your power when you're very low on resources. Wow, I did it again. I thought I made a stack of reactor. I guess I didn't. You know what, let's count. How about that? We got 1, 2, 3, 4. Wow, I screwed up by 4. Please tell me it's not going to take forever, because that's embarrassing that I messed up by 4. I thought it was good, though. Thought it was good, but I wasn't. Alright. Alright, so you're going to be able to see it form as you see it change the way it looks a little bit. And what it's waiting for now is going to be some input of fuel. And you can look here. This is the graphic user interface, or the GUI for the reactor. Core fuel status shows the depletion amounts. The more depleted it is, the less efficient it is. We don't care about efficiency. We don't care about heat. It's not going to explode. All right, I don't think it's set for explosion. I'm pretty sure it's not. The buffer holds a decent amount of power. I believe it's 10 million. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, something like that. It don't matter. I have it going into the grid anyway. We do need a bed. I don't want it to be dark when I'm doing this. Basic bed. Come on. There'll be another bed in my system. All right, there you go. Okay, I was talking about these reactor control rods. Inside there's a graphic user interface for control rod insertion. You can name them, I guess, because you could have them controlled by a computer and XNet and all these different things. I don't know. Why waste your time doing that? That's up to you if you want to really get into it. I mean, it's fun for some people, not me. I don't enjoy it. But one of the things you're going to look at is when you look at these here, this is insertion and this is reduction. And if you look, it says shift 100, alt -5, shift alt -1. So you could go really far. But I do control, and then I just go like this, and that changes the entire, all the rods at one time. Then you can choose shift alt and -1. Look at this one, and then you same thing, shift alt -1. I don't know if shift alt control. Let's try shift alt control. That's a lot of buttons. Let's see if that changed them all to -1. It did. Okay, cool. So they're all at 99% insertion, meaning they are the most efficient that it can be, but they'll burn the least amount of fuel at any given time. And mind you, this is a pretty small reactor. It's a 3x3 internal, 3x3x4. I take that back because I made it 4 tall. And so let's see how much uranium I have. All right, I have 513 uranium. I'm going to grab a couple stacks of uranium out. Let's just grab 3. All right, and then I'm going to click on my graphical GUI, speak much. Place that inside. You'll see it fills up with yellorium. Yellorium. That's why it's yellow. Then I'm going to eject the fuel. I'm going to do that because that's the only way to get yellorium in this pack. You try to smelt yellorium for whatever reason. I haven't figured it out yet. It just becomes uranium. So I'm just going to store some yellorium in the system for later. Go ahead and put that stack in. It didn't fill it all the way up. one more stack. Did it still not quite full, so let's go ahead and do. It holds a lot more fuel than most people's reactors because this reactor design, and I'm just going to leave it at full there, just to prove that I'm not using a constant thing. Now I could put a chicken here and have it constantly feeding it uranium. Yeah, there's no way I would ever run out. It's ridiculous how much the uranium I can make a 10-10-10 chicken do, so I'm not going to bother. But I am going to do this. I need to get a conduit, actually a couple conduits, and very simply place the output here. I'm going to shift on, right click on the conduit and tell it to extract from the output port and insert on this port. And that's going to input my spent fuel into the input inventory. That spent fuel is cyanite. Now I can make some cyanite, or I can just wait for it to appear and then I'll create the craft, but it's going to be a circle around the outside edge, and then the output will become plutonium. Plutonium is a substitute for uranium and for yellorium. It burns a lot less, but it is, I mean, you're getting more fuel for your buck, right? And I'm not even going to, I could take this out just to prove it, but I'm not going to. It's going to input into, from there into here. So I have another cable here like this, and I tell it to extract, always active, and insert, take out the extract. And I, for my own health, I do the redstone mode always active. And there we go. The reactor is set up. It is missing only one key ingredient, and that is something to control the power flux. So RF tools is in here. I believe it's a monitor. Is it called a monitor? RF monitor. There it is. RF monitor. Real simple item. Let me explain it real quick. This is going to scan the blocks around it. This little red doohickey right there represents a redstone output, and since it is going to be placed on top of my redstone reactor port, the output is going to be to that port. Okay, we configured the port to turn on and off the reactor. This is going to say when the reactor reaches X point, do such, right? So this is the reactor redstone. This is the flux plug. Wait a minute. Is it not going to read? Yeah, flux power tap. So this is going to be, I double click on it just for my own sake, and then I'm going to say anytime it gets less than 95%, let's just say 95% from the reactor. Now that it's highlighted, and this, yeah, this is kind of funky, but double click on it, leave, come back in, make sure it's lit up. So this is monitoring this reactor port. How is this getting power? What? Oh, it's getting power because I held the item in my hand, I guess. How is this? Oh, it got turned on. It turned on automatically. So there it goes. It turned it on for me. Notice it's only producing 205 RF per tick. That's because I have my control rods all the way inserted. So it's not going to give me a very large amount of power. But you also notice that my buffer is increasing, meaning I have no reason to have any power being put into my system at all. But I did this whole entire process anyway just so that I get yellorium so that I could mutate bees. I need yellorium to do the gendustry. So I will be covering that. So this is burning 0.003 millibuckets per tick, and for the sake of showing you why you do not need the all the crazy fluids and diamond blocks and all the other stuff that can go in these, you don't need those. But let me explain one thing. So I pretty much have got this down pat where I could do that if I wanted to expand this one more, make an outer ring of Inderium. The outer ring of Inderium is supposedly like it reflects the power of the neutrons back into the system and makes it more efficient or more powerful. Then Cryothium on the inside of this middle one right here, so that it's touching all these reactor rods at the same time, which it would be, except for it wouldn't be touching these, I guess, in the corner. But it would cool these chordal planes off, and they would be more efficient that way. I don't care. You want to do that, that's fine. It's a lot of work for not a whole lot of gain. Let's just go ahead and give this maximum amount. Let's go ahead and control what is it? Control Shift. I don't usually Control Alt. Yeah, Control Alt. Let's just go ahead. Oh wait, no insertion. So no insertion, no insertion. So this is the maximum power this thing can produce. 7,000 and 7,000 arithmetic. And yeah, climbing-ish. It's bouncing up and down. So 7,000 arithmetic, which is, I don't have anything that uses 7,000 arithmetic at the moment. I could make an environmental controller, I guess. There is no environmental tech in this mod pack. There is no need for it. It's not necessary, and I don't really care for the blocks all that much, so I just said, forget it. I'm not going to do it. There are some uses for those blocks, don't get me wrong. And you notice that the casing and everything is really hot. That's because eventually what I'm going to turn this into is a steam breeder anyway. So it's just going to be inputting water on one side and steam out the other, and it's going to be connecting right to a big steam turbine. So I don't really care about cooling it down. I actually want it to be pretty inefficient. But as you notice, it just turned off. It just turned off because the energy buffer reached full. It reached past the limit I set. Now I'm going to turn that limit down. And the reason I'm going to turn it down is because even though it gets turned off, it still keeps burning while it's hot, if that makes any sense. It's still cooling off, so the RF is still being pumped out. So if I turned that off earlier, I would have burned less fuel. I hope that makes sense. Now this little thing right here, the fuel reactivity, if I was to put Enderium in it, this would go up. If I was to put Cryothium inside of it, which is the best coolant, and it's source blocks and they fall, so you have to put a lot in there, it keeps this core temperature down. So it keeps this down and this up, and that increases the RF per tick coming out and lowers the burn rate when you do that. But I don't really have a use for all that much power anyway, so I'm not too concerned, and like I said, it's not a big deal. So for the sake of argument, you know what? I said I was going to leave it to run, and I could prove that it can keep going for a very, very long time. I need to find something that can store all that power, so why don't I go ahead and create another flux gargantuan flux storage. It's going to take a minute for that to craft, and hopefully I have enough time on this video to show you, because what's going to happen is this thing is going to pull as much power as it can out of this system, and I'll place it with my others. I do have Draconium chickens breeding, by the way, just in case. I will do Draconic Evolution. I'm not super excited because I've done it a bunch of times, but if you've never done it, you know, hey, you might like it. Oh, you know what? Did I skip over this Horn of the Wild and what it does? I never showed it to you. While I'm waiting for that storage to craft, because it's going to take a minute to make all that flux. Let me show you. Oh, I did manage to get the ore chid working too, if you're following my series. So all these flowers, to clear them out, the Horn of the Wild, you just hold it right click. Boom. Look at all that. All the flowers. Now this breaks leaves, grass. It doesn't, the grass becomes like seeds or something. Whatever you would if you were to break them. It doesn't give you grass. The only way to get grass is with shears. That I know of. There might be a way to exchange it or something. The Silk Touch on a builder, the ultimate builder. I am collecting these up just because I like the dye. I don't really care for automating dye. I did it already with Botania, but these flowers they're sufficient, and I don't like leaving a mess laying around. Not too much anyway. I could, but all right. So there you go, and that's a big range, right? I only did that for just a few seconds. If I held that down, I probably really could have cleared out a very large area for, not a whole lot of gain, just to show you. All right, let's go ahead and sleep. Let's check on that gargantuan. Now, mind you, I could make the auto crafting of the gargantuan far faster by doing multiple of those droppers and stuff downstairs, but there's no real super need. But I can tell you, it's probably not crafting. Yeah, it's going to need to craft over 1,600 flux. That's a lot. So, I mean, we're looking at crafting all these different items, but you can see it go. It's pretty quick, and I'm pretty happy with that. So let's see, while we're waiting, let's go ahead and put that away. I don't need that Horn of the Wild anymore. Let's go over one more thing. I guess I could go over my chickens a little bit. I know I don't usually want to do that for you guys too much because I'm sure you're bored of it by now. Oh, and I did do a little bit of artistry. I'm going to start working on cleaning some stuff up and making things look a little better. Looks like these ran out of seeds anyway. They did. Oh, wow. So these are my terrasteel chickens, and they look like they're doing pretty good. They're really slow to breed. They're one of the higher tiers that you can get in the entire game, so it is pretty slow. And I don't know if I have any more seeds. Oh, here's one that has all the seeds. I stopped breeding a lot of chickens, just I got really tired of doing it. I did figure out how to autocraft with integrated dynamics the breeder. I am able to do it. It came to me when I realized that you could not input and output the inside of these breeders. You can only push in, you can't pull out. But if you break them, everything falls out, right? So why not just collect them back up and then reinsert the good ones into the breeding slots? And that way you can keep doing that over and over again by breaking it and placing it. And yeah, you get the idea, right? So these guys need some help. These guys need some help. And then the rest, I'm just going to put away. And I'm actually going to put the terrasteel inside the grid just because of sake of argument. Now, my food, these biscuits of totality, I don't know, man. This is crazy. Full. I don't even have to worry about eating anything else. I've gone through almost none of those things anyway, because I fly, and when I fly, I don't use up my endurance, and my hunger doesn't ever really go down. So am I going to ever find out? This thing's never going to go running again. I need it to run more so that I can kind of make yellorium and start this breeding process of the plutonium. How am I doing? Flux. I know what I can do. Let's go ahead and do this. Where am I at? Wow, I see it's got to craft 35 basic flux. We're going to speed up the process. We're going to speed it up immensely, like way more than normal. And I don't know if my system's going to like it or not. We'll find out. We're just going to grab and make our own flux. It's a lot faster by hand, but it's nice to be able to just let it go. If I wanted to, I could just let it go and it would eventually get there. As you can see, it's just going at it. Now, I did cover up the wall and make my area look a little better. I still got to add a lot of details and decorations. And we're getting flux. That's a lot of flux. There you go. Make me the flux. All right. Just for a stake. I don't even know how much flux it's going to take, so I'm just going to keep on doing this for a second. It shouldn't take too long. Once I start getting all the flux made, the crafters will do all the other work. Actually, that multi-block crafter will. Oh, I don't want this. I think the range collector is clogged. I'm sure it is. Unable to compensate. Well, I can't even get close enough or I'll end up picking up all this flux. Yeah. So the importer on that's just pushing as hard as it can. I'll leave it alone. Maybe, just maybe, we'll be a little bit closer. Alright, set 1,000. It really is just a matter of that. So let's see what I got for stack upgrades, and I can show you that. I have 64 stack upgrades. I made those in the last episode, and I didn't even use them. Whoop. Now I'm going to fly. Hopefully I don't pick up anything. And break into here. Get up in here, and there's my importer. And watch this. Boop. Now it's going to do a stack at a time. That's a lot faster. It should win eventually. Yep, there you go. So that just made that process a whole lot better. There should be, nope, no importer there. This importer handles a lot. There's not a whole lot it needs to do, but it can do a lot. It's just a matter of this range collector. Like, what is the range on it? It's pretty far. I think it's like 16 blocks or something. Wow, okay. well, since we want to do that, let's go ahead and do the rest of this real quick, and hopefully I can show it to you before my time runs out. It actually already ran out. Let's just go ahead and make it happen. You want to do 1,000? Let's do 1,000. I've got plenty. I don't like when people play so much and they just sit there and hoard up their stuff and they never use it. I have no problem with people using their stuff up. What the heck? You know, I mean, if you're using it, awesome, but just don't just collect it to collect it. What is that going to do? I mean, use it. Drop it on the ground. Put it as a placeholder because you have this. Yep, that's how you do things with Draconic. It allows you to place things. The whole stack. Oh, it got collected. I don't know how, but oh well. Really? It did get collected. So let me look at my biscuits. I have 33 of them still, so I'm good. I'm good. Where you at now? Jeesh! Stored 1 Herculean. So if I cancel this craft, let's go ahead and get the Herculean. Oops. Let's go ahead and add the Herculean to the system so I can show it to you. I'll replace it. Now I'm going to make sure I select the network like this, and now it's going to fill up. Hopefully it's enough to make this reactor turn on. Yes, it did. Alright, cool. Well, it barely touched that reactor. Because now it's filling back up already. 7,000 RF a tick. It's just too much for most. It's not even burning any fuel. Come on, burn some fuel. I knew it was going to be too efficient. Look at that, 0.2. It converts it to a liquid. I don't like this at all. Like millibuckets per tick is not a thing I like to do, but I guess you, it gives you the option of making fluid input and output, because this does work with a steam turbine. So I mean, there is that part of it. And I'm going to go ahead and tell it to craft that. And I will come back. We'll do a sleep. And we'll call it an episode. Alright, so the reactor is going to run for a little while longer, I hope. Hopefully long enough for me to at least get 1 thing of cyanite. Can you do that? Can you eject the waste? Eject the waste. I think it automatically ejects the waste anyway. Oh well, if I hit eject the waste, it should come out at this port, but yeah, so this is like the least efficient as it gets at this size. I should have made it bigger, I guess, if I really wanted to push it. But yeah, 7K in this size, I don't know. What are you going to use that much for anyway? The solar panels do more. Just for sake of reference, in this episode, solar, if you get the chaotic solar panels, you can make 524,000 per panel per tick, and I do believe you make 4 at a time. 1 million for 2, so 2 million. Wow, that's too much. I don't know, 2 million RF a tick from each of these chaoses. That's just insane. That's just crazy. I don't even really know what you're going to do with all that power. I mean, I guess you could sit there and try to fill up a tier 8 Dragon Ball, but good luck. The good news is this is taking a long time to make. And I might actually get a piece of cyanite. We did. Okay, so good thing. So here's what you do. If you don't know how to use an auto crafter, that's what you do. You create the craft, and then you put the inventory in here, and it will output this product on the bottom. If you get the inventory item wrong, it will take it away, so you won't have it. Now, you can then keep ancillary items in input. I don't bother with that. You can speed up the process. It's not going to get it fast enough to need to speed up the process, but it's fast enough. And then you can have a redstone signal turn it on and off. I mean, you really want to get picky about it, that's fine. I leave it the way it is. Eventually what will happen is I'll get a bunch of plutonium filling up these slots because this will be full and stay full so long. But as you can see, it's 99.3% full and 0.3% depleted. The more it becomes depleted, the less efficient it becomes, the more it produces plutonium, but then the plutonium gets recycled right back into the system again, and then eventually, yeah, it just keeps on going. This thing is going to turn it on and off for me at 90%, which actually is too high. I need it set for about, I'm going to say 85. And the reason why I set it for that is that means it's going to keep burning when it gets turned off until it cools all the way down. So we're talking a lot of heat to dissipate first before this whole buffer leaves. So there you go. That's it. I think that should be good enough for everybody. I hope if you have any questions about that, please let me know in the comments below. This is Soulless44. Thanks for stopping by. And remember, Galactic Chickens is available on the Twitch launcher, and it's free to play on the server that's available on the game. If you start it up, you can play it in single player, which I'm in right now. Or you can go ahead and go on to multiplayer, and the server will pop right up for you. It's already put into the mod pack. Thank you for stopping by again. This is Soulless44. You have a great day. Bye-bye.